Unsung Hero, the newest movie. Let's talk about it. Okay, so I have just seen Unsung Hero, which is a movie brought to you by fk&c. Yes, you may know them as the band that produce songs. Yes, they have come out with this story that is based on their life. This is what the events that occurred when they were younger, when they were kids, and how their family transitioned from Australia, my motherland, to the United States. So, look, this was going to be an interesting journey to watch. I mean, from the trailers that I've seen, I've enjoyed the trailers. And now that I've sat down and watched it, I could say this is actually a pretty good film. This is actually pretty good. It's got a lot of messaging throughout the film about not giving up and pushing through the hardship while also never being afraid to ask for help at the same time. And that's some of the messages that I love that was portrayed within their story and how they persevered through the hardship that they had to overcome in order to get to where they are in life now. So I feel like there's a lot that people can take away from this film. And also this film it restores a little bit of faith in humanity that you may have lost. Because, there's some things that happen in the world right now where you kind of feel like you're losing faith in humanity. And then you hear stories like this about people being generous and giving when they're not asked to. And it just restores that little bit of hell, that little bit of faith that you have in humanity back. Now, there are some issues with the film. Firstly, one of the issues that I felt was the pacing of the film does feel like it drags out at times, especially the start of the film. The start of the film, it does feel like it takes a while to get going, but once we get to the States and they're there, that's when it really picks up and it flows a lot better. I just feel like the start didn't really flow with the editing choices that they did and how they did that, but once you got into it, the next part, the next two acts, flowed brilliantly, and I had no issues with the pacing then. It's just really the start that I had an issue with. Another thing is some of the acting in here, you can tell that some of them aren't like proper actors. For instance, obviously, one of them from King and Country portrays their dad, which I don't have a problem with because there's no one else who could know their own father better than their son. So it makes sense to get someone like that to play them. But there are times where you feel like, yeah, there are scenes where you can tell he's not a full-time actor, which is, that's to be expected from someone who doesn't act all the time. That's just what happens. But overall, I would still say his performance was good. For someone doing it first time, like, credit to him. Like, to take on this role and to play your father like that when you're not a full-time actor, I got to give props to him, man. I have to give props to him. And I thought he did a good job. There were, like I said, times where you can see that he's not a full-time actor. However, the woman that plays his mother, she puts this movie on her shoulders and runs with it. She is the heart and soul of this film. And she, like they say in the movie, she's the glue that kept the family together. She's the glue that kept the film together as well. Every time she's on screen, she just lights it up. She brightens the lights on her and then delivers. She is fantastic. And there were so many scenes. There's one particular scene when the father's in a rut and doesn't know what to do. And you see her bring everyone back together, lift everyone back up, and still give them the belief. Because there's a lot of tragedy that happens in here, a lot of hardship that happens to the family, and when you see what the father's gone through, you understand why he acts like he does in certain ways because of the real world stuff that happens to him. But then it's also he's got that shining light in his wife who knocks sense into him and says, look, man, we need to keep going. We need to believe at all costs. And I love that. I love the concept that they did with the kids, with the whole war. What do they want? What are they thankful for? And that was all brilliant. And like, to see this family go through this hardship and then to have people, when they come to the States, to just help out of nowhere. Like, there are people out there like that. Like, we see so much stuff about people, doing horrible things to other people, that we forget that there are people out there who are willing to put themselves out there to help others just because, you know, that other people need it. It's not because, oh, I expect you to return the favor to me. No, it's I'm going to help you because you need the help. And so I loved all that as well. That was fantastic. I love when they get to America, because when they get to America and the border security scene, I've been there. I've been there as someone who's come from Australia and gone there and had to go through the customs. I'm telling you now, when that little kid was crying in there, when they're like getting interrogated, I feel 100% for that kid. I 100% feel, because me as an adult, I'm telling you, it is scary. And I love when he cracks a joke at border security about the name Smallbone, and he says it's like, oh, if I was gonna make a fake one, I wouldn't call it that. And like he's laughing, but the guy is dead set, like straight face, like not finding it funny. And I was told that when I was applying for visa, that don't make jokes when you go to the border security, because they just won't laugh or anything like that, and they'll think it's a bit suspicious and that, which is crazy, because if you've been to Australia now, you know that we're jokesters. That's what we do. We like to make light and funny jokes out of everything. And that's just what we do. So it's hard when you see that, and when they come. That was an all intense scene. And I was just like, yeah, I 100% feel that. And then when he gets to the actual when they're in the airport and they got to go to the connecting flight, and he says, look, I laugh because I understand the slang and lingo that we use in Australia. No one else in the theater quite understood why it was funny, but I was laughing because there was moments where he was like, oh, can we catch one, the Savo? And she was like, what? What do you mean? And I laughed because I know what that means, and no one else knew what that meant. And then when he says fair dinkum, and she's like, you need to watch your language, I laughed because I'm like, I know all the lingo and that. So for me, I got a little bit of extra out of all that comedy side of it when it came to the cultural difference and the language barrier between, even though we speak English, there are still very different, like there are differences between our vocabulary and the American one. Like we say things in a different way. We like to shorten things. There's just so many things how we do things just differently. It's not like a major difference, but little things like that. Like Savo, afternoon. It's just different. And I love that. And I got that out of it. But overall, the story was great. I had a good time with it. There's a lot of message about them not giving up, how they persevered to get to where they are, the hardship that they had to go over, where they lost everything and then had to rebuild everything in another country. I know what that's like because I've done that now, and that's what I'm currently doing right now. So I feel like I can resonate with this film a lot more than maybe others can, because I've come from another country over to the States, and I've had to start from scratch again and really try to rebuild. And I've been lucky enough to have people who can help me and stuff like that as well. That's what I really liked about this film. And I felt like this film spoke to me as well. So let me know what you guys thought of Unsung Hero. Did you guys enjoy it? Smash it down in the comment section below. Smash that like button. Click subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Until then, stay safe and peace out.